The introduction to Bart Ehrman's Love Thy Stranger has some pretty big flaws in the overall reasoning that are worth hearing about, even if you're not interested in the book. Let's look at one. Bart states that my argument in this book is that the impulse to help strangers in need is embedded in our Western moral conscience because of the teachings of Jesus. He also adds that the urge to provide assistance and our moral common sense, even for agnostics and atheists, comes from the teachings of Jesus. I could tell you that absolutely none of my moral conscience comes from the teachings of Jesus. He also states that this sense of moral obligation to strangers in need is not written into the human DNA. But are they really not written into the human DNA? I mean, is Christianity a separate sentient life form? Is it capable of spawning teachings or intuitions? I don't think so. I mean, I'm not a scientist, so I don't know about the DNA part, but I do know that the practice of helping strangers was the product of humans, not Christianity. Humans created Christianity and its related teachings and doctrines, not the other way around. It may have been expressed in part through the lens of Christianity, but so were many other practices and values, some of which were moral and some of which were not. The reason the concept of helping strangers became an accepted practice is in part, because it aligned with inherent human and moral intuitions that exist independently from Christianity. It's only an accepted practice because humans chose to follow it. If Jesus had taught, hate thy stranger in similar messages, sure, he might have caught on as a charismatic figure of the times, but he wouldn't have inspired a long-lasting, widespread religion. It is our human DNA that allows us to make the distinction and which is ultimately responsible. It acts as a sort of gatekeeper to recognize good and bad actions. Slavery was a practice of Christianity that Jesus didn't speak out against and certainly indirectly supported, as evidenced by his discussions about the interactions of slaves and their masters. It took a long time, but slavery was eventually rejected by people by using their human DNA, not by following the so-called Christian principles. Bart seems to be well-meaning. He really does, but he is not pointing us in the right direction with Love Thy Stranger. The answer to addressing the problems that Bart is so concerned about doesn't lie in turning to the malleable and inconsistent norms and values of Christianity or any other religion. It lies in reasoned, good faith discussions of the problems that we face in light of moral principles like honesty, fairness, kindness, etc., in consideration of the well-being of others.